Yep. Hello everybody. Welcome to our absolutely fantastic presentation. We are, of course, oh yeah, it's actually doing it. That's good. So it looks like I've done an okay job. So, I'm Sean. I'm going to be the chief editor for this video.
I'm Zoe. I will be focusing mainly on the cinematography for the production of the documentary. But of course we will all be sharing responsibility and getting some experience of all the areas.
And we're going to be directing and be the cameraman and all that.
Absolutely. So, our idea, working title, naturally, ASAC. Aspire, Achieve, Experimental Reality. We haven't quite come up with a name yet. The mode of our documentary is primarily going to be expository and participatory. For expository, primarily for, well, as you can clearly see here, for the building of the story, so introduction, outro, and all the kind of like interweaving, connecty bits. And participatory for the actual interview, so you can hear the person interviewing the subject and the rest of that happy horse expletive. So, what is it about?
Right. So
And why are we making this?
if I could describe in one word, it's just focusing around the beauty of difficulties and challenges as we go through life. Now, if you can imagine a caterpillar as an analogy, transforming or like blooming into a butterfly, which may make no sense to you at this stage, that makes perfect sense as we present our characters. And there is a remark which says, who would have thought that a challenge or a negative in every situation can lead to a new dream and with it a new passion, ambition, followed by an identity and purpose. And then if you can...
Of course.
One of the other things that we really want to illustrate through this documentary is that, like from a very young age, as Sean said, every single one of us has a dream and something that we want to achieve. And no matter what your walk of life and who you are and what that dream is, you're going to face difficulties and challenges. And one of the things that we really want to illustrate is what keeps people going when they face these challenges, what gets them out of bed in the morning, and what the most rewarding thing about actually having the determination and the strength in yourself to go through with that sort of comes from.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Said it perfectly. Thank you. Okay, so there was a...
As we progress through this, as Zoe was saying, we have the three characters which have all encountered challenges. Now, what we mean by that is a problem or a negative in a situation, as life pushes us through harsh moments, and then obviously everyone is experiencing a different sort of feeling of pain, fear, loss, suffering, anger, frustration, any other feelings. Now, what is being observed through this documentary is that they all have an instinctive response of survival, and they sort of like pull themselves up, and then they sort of like develop a dream. So, for example, if I would relate to my boxer, he's had problems in his childhood because he has ADHD, so he got into a lot of fighting, had a lot of problems with police in school and all that. But he's developed a dream rather than fighting, actually going into training himself and being the best fighter, which he's doing currently. And then from that, he sort of like transformed that negative into always having problems, the tendency of fighting people and just getting into prison to actually fighting people as a sport. And he's one of the best at this stage as part of his club. And he's also like coaching people for free. So he's built that up into a dream, and then he sees himself in that way, and then he acts according to that. So he's transformed his reality. Now, if Zoe can,
So, yes, of course. Oh dear, so why should we make this? It's a very bloody good question, isn't it? So, as Zoe said earlier on, so everyone aspires to be someone, to be something from like a very young age. I'm sure you guys guys and girls wanted to be like nurses, doctors, policemen and women, astronauts,
Superman.
whatever. Superman, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'd love to be a Superman or superhero, which I guess is the reason why it makes it. Well, it may not seem it right now, but that's what I feel makes it probably quite relatable to everyone.
And
potentially.
what we want you guys to do is to see this from the perspective of where you are now you know, you're in the first year of a degree that could change your life and your career, and is a very important time for you to have a source of inspiration from from people who have, you know, gone through the same struggles and challenges and come out the other side of it. And it's not, you know, just some guy stood at the top of the stage saying, this is how you are successful.
Yeah.
And it's actually real life stories from people that are in our community doing something different with their lives.
And obviously, their struggles which surround those things which they wish to aspire to.
It's kind of how they built an identity and built themselves up into, for example, wanting to be the best or aspiring to do something in their life. It kind of draws attention to the fact that you don't just have an identity as to how you cope with your nationality and what gender you are. It's more to do with how you perceive yourself and how you act according to that.
Oh God, it says ever one as well. Whoops, I thought I saved it. Okay, so our interview subjects are as follows. You may not know them, there's no names. I'm hoping that on the next slide I'll actually come up with said names, because that's what we set up to. So we have, first of all, Mr. Brendan Morgan, which is my, my personal, my friend. From a very young age, he's been brought up in this kind of like music family. His parents are music teachers, primarily classical music teachers. And to this day, he has been struggling to try and form a band. His primary inspiration is like grunge and metal, which is a far cry different to classical music. He has a quirky personality, which I feel that would be absolutely fantastic with this documentary. And of course, hopefully, you guys will be able to portray that in the coming weeks when the final thing has been published. So, and next up, oh yeah, you want to do a video, didn't you?
Just briefly.
Yeah. Okay. Are you sure you're going to? Yeah. Okay. So.
Is there any sound?
There. Well, there can be.
So can I? Is there? I want to show you
Mr. Nash,
that is actually what animation and everything he does.
Weighing officially at 63.8 kilos, this man comes to us representing NRG. Would you please welcome John Victor? Action.
One of the problems that he also has from getting punched in the head is that he's thinking he might actually develop dementia, so he's losing his memory throughout the day, though he's still not giving up on that dream. Apart from the fact that it's almost like ironic that he has ADHD, so he struggles with his attention. He's chased up after this dream, but his memory is starting to be a bit not as good as it used to be before. Okay, should I start then?
Yep. Last but not least.
Okay, so the final character for our documentary is a guy called Jordan O'Shea. He runs a local coffee shop called the Bear and the Bean, which he opened at the tender age of 24. And one of the things that we really want to take from the short interviews that we have with Jordan is, the real challenges of finding a passion for something that you want to share with other people, and the difficulties that he's faced, not just in being able to set up the business, but being able to keep it going, in terms of surviving in the sea of chain businesses and all that kind of thing. So, like the things that he does differently to other places that can bring people in, and what is so rewarding about having a place like this for himself, and being able to put a little stamp of his own personality into the community. So yeah, we'll touch on what kind of gets him out of bed in the morning and what keeps him going throughout the year.
Conflict. Oh boy, what an interesting subject this is. So, what kind of things would you consider as a conflict with a documentary like this? Well, it's typically, I would say, coming from my own personal experiences, it's more of an internal thing rather than external. and obviously financial thing too. But typically you'll find that, why doesn't someone become an astronaut? Because they may not necessarily be fit enough, and also it's just so completely out there, and what's the point in even aspiring to be that? Why become a sports person, a sportsman? Who knows?
If I could just...
Yeah, but no, please, by all means, do so.
With Jimmy, for example, one of the main reasons he's actually put himself to do this is because he wanted to make his mother proud. It was also to prove it to himself that he's not always this bad kid, because when he was in school, because of being hyperactive, he always used to get in fights, and his mom always used to go to his school and try to solve situations with his school, and he ended up in a situation where he's completed his GCSEs but didn't do A-levels, and then he had a lecturer who's actually pulled him up and gave him the chance of doing his A-levels, and he's progressed to that. He was also an Oxford Brookes student. The point where I'm going with this is that he's developed this internal drive to not necessarily just prove to his mom, but to himself, and he's also developed a desire to be coaching people in a sort of like troubled kids, coach them into sports, and he does it for free as we speak. So,
yeah, I mean, obviously we want this piece to be somewhat inspirational to people, so you know, it's going to be a very sort of personal account of all of the issues that people face, both from internal, you know, doubts, and as well as the environment that they're in and how they get through that.
So locations, just very quickly now, for naturally, because of the people that we're going to be working with, we want them to be interviewed in environments which they're associated with. For example, with Brendan, any kind of like live music scene, so a place like the Library in Cowley Road and places like that. With I forgot his name. Jimmy, sorry. You have like a boxing ring or something like that, and of course the Bear and the Bean, and around Oxford City itself. Quickly skip over that. The issues which you may come across are, if the cameras are unavailable, we'll just use a DSLR. Let's be honest here. If there's bad sound, we'll be recording with 2 sources instead of just the one, like built into the camera. And if there's bad recording, then we have to either, as you can clearly see, rearrange the interview or interview a backup, which we do have a list of, a small list, but still a list nonetheless. Finances, we'll just quickly rush through this. There's a lot, there's money and stuff in our our project timescale. Have a nice little gander at that. We'll have everything wrapped up by the 11th of December, in a nutshell. Anyway, thank you very much. I'm sure you all have so many burning questions right now. Anybody? No? Awesome. Thank you very much. Okay, there you go. I am sure you have loads of questions.
Okay, thanks for that.
Yeah, that's quite all right.
Actually, rather than talking my back
Yeah.
to the rest of you, let's talk over here.
Okay.
Okay, so you've involved all of you in a talk, which you like. You've prepared slides and things, which is great, and they're lively. You went over time, which tells me you didn't plan out your talk in advance. You had to skip through several slides, and it's kind of basic to know how long something's going to take. Do you mind if I'm absolutely honest with you?
By all means, please do so.
It was about 2 minutes in that I had the faintest idea what you were talking about.
Yeah.
2 minutes in, I thought, oh, people's dreams. And I thought, okay, that's what they're talking about. At several points, I felt I was in a Scientology type lecture. You know, those kind of awful flowcharts that nutcase religious cults do. Only this way will you find your inner whatever. I felt you're losing track of what's an essentially simple proposition. We propose to film and interview 3 people who talk about their dreams. In so doing, we illuminate larger human themes about realising one's dreams, overcoming obstacles, so and so, so and so. The people we're going to meet are A, B and C. Here's a clip of them. I mean, we talked about this last week. There's no excuse really that if you're going to predicate your film on specific individuals, there's no excuse for not running a clip of them. Are they any good? Are they boring? Need to know that. The boxer kind of came out of the blue about 4 minutes in, said the boxer, and I thought, what boxer? I don't know anything about boxing. And again, you need to get the simple stuff up the top. 3 people, on the face of it, very different, but they have these things in common. So begin from the specifics and draw the general from the specifics, yeah? At the moment, you're beginning from the very loose and general and kind of slightly culty. And then try and illustrate those by the specifics. By the time you've lost me somewhere down there, yeah? Put your weary old glasses on, have a check-in. 5 minutes in, I was making those, I still don't understand what you're filming. At that point, I really didn't. You contributors, you started talking about 6 minutes, 60% of the way through your talk, you started talking about who's actually in the film. I was wondering where the clips of these people. And I'm thinking, you're doing a 7-minute film. You've got 3 contributors. With a preamble and a kind of post-amble, that probably gives you about 2 minutes each. You're proposing to cover an awful lot of ground in 2 minutes each there, aren't you? Have you thought that through? Of how you're going to do that, cram so much about their life story into 2 minutes. I was slightly alarmed when you said if the camera's unavailable, it's no hassle, we'll use the DSLR. What did you mean by that? Did you mean...
Yeah, I mean, that, unfortunately I had to rush through that. So we have at our disposal multiple DSLR cameras which can also film in high definition
video.
Yes.
It's quite. Have you shot video and
I have. Yeah,
good. Okay.
Personally.
It's a hell of a lot easier to use a 305 than a DSLR. Is the only thing I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So that's. I mean, I felt there's nothing. We're going to make a film about dreams. There are 3 people in our film who have had their dreams. They are Bosch, Bosch, and Bosch. Their dreams are these. The problems they've had are these, and the larger points that we're going to illustrate are these through it. That's how to go in a specific to the general. Is that okay? It depends how strong your kind of linking thing is and how many points that are surprisingly interesting you've got about dreams. They're very disparate. A coffee shop owner, a boxer, and a musician. Musician's strength is probably the weakest, because if you're going to do the first 2 are people who are kind of doing or realising dreams. The musician doesn't have a recording contract, doesn't have stuff out or anything like that. Yeah. So it's yet to be realised, but maybe that's okay, I don't know. That's all I've got to say. Sorry to be tough on your channel.
No, honestly,
appreciate it.
The tougher the better. Please, be as critical as you want.
I think you, like Alison said this morning, you talk a lot about what, but it's difficult for me to understand how. That's the thing.
Well, hopefully we'll be
on the how. Yeah.
Did anyone else? Did anyone else have a feeling, kind of 2 or 3 minutes in? I don't understand this. I don't. Understand.
I could see everyone's attention just weaning off.
And also, be serious.
You want to say something? No? Okay.
Okay.
Don't be boring. Undercut yourself by humour. Look like you mean it, yeah?
Yeah.
Rather than, always load of bollocks we knocked out. Right.
That's it.
Okay.
Done.
Yeah.